Hello, and welcome to this collective and timeless reading. This is E-Star Tarot, and today I'm going to be doing another reading for the collective to see what messages our spirit guides, ancestors, and guardian angels want to bring in for us today. I'm going to be starting off today with the crystal cards. I'm just feeling that. I love this blue, huh? It's just a nice blue. Sky blue. Maybe you need to see more sky. Oh, and I brought in a piece of Sodalite actually, which is another blue color. Some blue's the theme of this reading, I guess. Yeah, Sodalite is this deep indigo blue that is good for your third eye, for unlocking your insights, right? Your intuition, even for dreaming and things like that. So definitely good for your intuition if you're working on that. And it also makes me think of Archangel Michael, because that's sort of his color, a deep indigo blue. So, could be some protection as well, spiritual protection that is required right now for you. Oh, that's it. Carnelian. Very orange stone. It's an abundance stone as well. Something that makes me think of the sacral chakra, as well as creativity, abundance, that feeling of joy. Yeah, strong feeling of joy from this. It's got a green background, makes me think of your heart being in joy. So, because, green is the color of the heart chakra as well. Is this it? Yeah, Numite. We're going to take the Numite. I believe this is Numite. Using self-knowledge, you're... actually, maybe I better check. It's funny how it always pops out, because I always forget. It's the one crystal I'm always like, huh? Where are you again? Let's see here, yeah. Self-mastery, that's what it is. Self-mastery. Your power. Recovering a sense of self. And we've got that with the carnelian here. So it makes me think of, recovering your sense of joy and ability to have fun. Maybe just like that energy of being like a kid that has fun. Yeah. You're rediscovering that side of yourself so that you can have fun. Yeah, there's a part of you maybe that got closed off. Maybe shut down from, too much adulting. Because, it's the childlike part of ourselves that goes through life and can enjoy the moment, can have fun, and that's what life's kind of all about, right? We can work and we can try to achieve things all day long, but at the end of the day, what we really want is to just have some fun, have some joy in our lives, right? That's what it's all about. Taking in the moment. Being silly is what I'm hearing. So maybe you're regaining your ability to just be silly. Sodalite. Isn't that, yeah, that's this stone, Sodalite. Isn't that funny? And it's a similar shape too. This one isn't as quite with the, it's not like a double pointer, but it's kind of similar, isn't it? Isn't that funny? Sodalite can also help us with organizing ourselves, right? To get ourselves aware and focused on what it is that we need in our lives in order to achieve that self-mastery, right? Yeah, I'm just going to double check here. There's just so many crystals, isn't there? Yeah, intentionality. That's the key word with this. Intentionality. And conscious awareness, being in an awakened state, which is what Sodalite does for us, isn't it? It awakens our intuition. It helps us unlock, our inner knowing. And that's how we unlock our lives, is by knowing what's true, right? Yeah, you've got to get intentional with this. And that goes along with self-mastery as well, because I think before, you maybe were someone who didn't know what brought you joy, didn't know how to feel joy because you had shut that part of yourself down. And because of this clouded your intuition, because that childlike curiosity, that wonder, that ability to go with the flow, those are kind of all linked together. And when you shut down one part, the other part gets affected. Yeah. Hmm. And your carnelian and your sodalite, they're both very similar, huh? Red and blue. Or it's orange, but it's such a deep color that it's almost red. And then you got this orange here, right? Yeah. You're learning to unlock your abundance by tapping into that inner awareness, the inner joy. Knowing what brings you joy. Yeah. And that's the self-mastery that's coming in. Because before, I think you were almost operating like you were a different person. Like sometimes we put on a mask in life and we convince even ourselves, like this deception is also on the inside. Like we fool ourselves the most on what it is that we truly want in our lives, what makes us happy. Even we can deceive ourselves what even makes us happy, which just seems crazy, but it's true. You can convince yourself that you like something because in your head you like how it makes you look to others, because what you really want is societal approval or the approval of someone specific. But when you strip all that away, you realize, I don't really like this. Because even, I'm just using a random example, but like, maybe someone gets involved in an activity because they just like this certain person and they just want to spend time with that person, so they get involved in that activity, and they keep doing it for so many years that they just absorb it into their personality as part of who they are. But when they take that person away, they realize, I actually really don't like this. I don't like doing this at all. And it kind of takes away my joy because I'm forcing myself to do it. Nothing that is truly for you or that you really want is going to feel like you have to force yourself to do it. And often we can force ourselves to do things because we're like, oh, well, I want to be this. Like maybe you can take up an activity and you're feeling like you have to fight with yourself every time to do it. And don't get me wrong, it is hard to form habits, and sometimes there is resistance to that at first. But the things we really want, we're not going to have to fight ourselves so hard for. We're going to be in the moment. We're going to enjoy it. And if you're trying to force yourself to do something that isn't really something you like you're going to build resentment. And that's something that is the thief of, consistency. You won't stay consistent with something that builds your resentment against it. Because if you feel like you have to force yourself to do it, even if you think it's like a good thing for you, like maybe you're trying to get in shape. Let's just use a random example. Trying to get in shape. So you're trying to become someone that runs, and you're trying to like it a lot and make it a part of you. Or maybe you've run for years and you accept it as part of how you can maintain a certain figure or a certain level of health. But one day you just kind of wake up and realize, I hate having to force myself to run every day. And, there's a self-mastery with that. That's where the self-mastery comes in, because you realize that it's again, and it goes back to intuition, no true awareness, true intention. What do you actually want? Like, is it just to be healthy or to look like a runner? Maybe you could do something else. And again, this is just a random example, but it might resonate with someone in particular. So, because I'm really feeling this one strongly. You could just do something else. Try something else. Something you've actually wanted to do or that you're curious about. Maybe you just need something new. Maybe you just feel dull about this certain thing and it's time to try something else. You don't have to maintain something because sometimes we feel like we have to maintain a certain image or like, or we come so far with it, we're like, well, I can't quit it now because look how much work I've done to build up this skill. But you know what? It's your life. It's what you enjoy. And if something doesn't bring you joy anymore, it's time to toss it. And it's also just being aware of what that feeling of joy is and where it's going to take you. Yeah, like, because you'll never work a day in your life if you're doing something you truly enjoy, right? Sometimes we do something over and over again, but it's become work. It's not become fun anymore. And it's hard, it's tough, because there's ADHD and things like that that it kind of make it even more complicated. But I think if something's truly for you, it's not going to feel like work to you. Yeah, that's where I'll leave it at. I'm going to get some tarot cards just to confirm, because we're just going off 3 cards here. But I got quite a lot out of that, so, you know, I think the message was true. It's not easy. Finding what we like is not easy. And we get wrapped up in tying our identity into it as well, and that just complicates things. Yeah, we can become blind to it. Because look, they're blindfolded here, and they're trapped by their swords. You don't have to be trapped by something. If you want to quit something, you can quit. You know, who's holding the whip at your back, making you do it? You know, if it's you, you can put the whip down and say, hey, maybe I need something else to feel joy. Maybe there's something more for me. Yeah, you're learning to leave it behind. You're learning to let go of things you've built up a lot of investment in, or you wrapped your identity in it, or you just like how it made you perceived by others, but now you're just realizing, no, this is not for me. Yeah, judgment. Yeah. This is the time. It's become clear to you that this is not who you want to be. Oh, the devil on the bottom there. Yeah, you had an attachment to this as part of who you are, but it's not what you want. Yeah, High Priestess. This goes with an intuition. You're realizing there's a little nudge in a thought nudging you and being like, you know what? I don't actually like this. This isn't fun. This isn't, but you didn't realize that before. You didn't know how to recognize joy within yourself before. You didn't know. You let someone else tell you what you wanted for so long that you didn't know how to let your own soul and spirit tell you what was fun. Yeah, that's really sad. Yeah, that sucks, man. Like, you might not be a man, but sometimes I say man. I just feel, well, you know, it's going to be okay, because look, you're walking away from that mindset now. You were trapped before by this way of thinking, and now you're moving beyond it. Judgment came in, something came to disrupt and to make things clear to you, and now it's like, oh, actually, I don't like this, and I'm not going to do it anymore, because why would I do that? Like, you've changed your mindset, and that's because your own self-awareness is coming. Yeah, and it's easy for that to happen, because so much in our lives can disconnect us from reality and from our spirits, right? We can get disconnected because of life and technology and food and all these chemicals that are all around us that are just disrupting our nervous system and untapping us from intuition. Untapping. It's not quite the way to describe it, but you know what I mean. Like, we're disconnected. That's what I'm trying to say. Disconnected. You were disconnected from your own intuition before, and that connects to your joy, right? Your own sense of happiness and fulfillment. Yeah. Ugh. It's hard being lost in a fog. That's what it's like. It's like being in the fog, and you convince yourself you're someone else. Communication. Hone your negotiation and relationship skills. Yeah. You got the plane here. You could even even be deciding you don't want to live. You don't like where you're living even. And you're like, I'm out of here. Because it's all about awareness, right? Once you realize and you decide, this isn't what I want, everything flows from there, right? Then you get to yourself to a point where you don't let other things tell you what you want, right? Where you learn to tap into what you want. I'm actually going to trade out for Yasmin's Moonology deck. I don't know, I was just feeling called to. I wanted to pull another card, but it was like, nope, that's the end of that deck. So, okay. We're moving on. Turn off my alarm there. Oh, it's getting dark now. It's 7 o'clock. Isn't it sad? Probably not where you live, maybe, or but where I live, it gets dark around this time of year, earlier and earlier, till it's very dark. At almost like 4 o'clock. It's like, oh no! But you know what? Even the earth needs a raise. A raise? I said raise. I was gonna say rest. Even the earth needs a rest. Because, you know, the winter is like the time of rest, but I said it needs a raise. Maybe you're realizing you're working a dead-end job and you need a raise or to go somewhere different. Move on. Ooh, whoa, 2 cards flew out there. Yeah, void of course. Or no, adjustments. I was going to say void of course. It's not that card. It's adjustments are required. And I made a mess. Yeah, adjustments are required. And then we've got expect powerful change. So, okay, so once you have now that you've adjusted, or you're in that process of knowing how to tap into, like, to really ask yourself what you want and get a straight answer. You know, you're not just saying answers that you think you should say to yourself. You're being honest, you're being real with yourself. That's when the change happens. That's when the magic happens. Where am I going to put you? I'm going to put you with this guy. Yeah, because hone your negotiation and relationship skills. Yes, with yourself. Ah, that's what it means. Okay, so yeah, because I was a little confused here. But now it makes sense. You're learning how to communicate with yourself. You're learning how to understand what you really want. And now for some reason they're saying I'm taking the Zodiac card back. Why? Why do I have to go from there to there? I don't know. It's just what it is. All right. Well, we're going to do these cards again. I guess there's another card supposed to go here, but maybe we had to get this card first for some reason. Interesting. You know, maybe there's a message in that as well, because sometimes we have to dip into things to figure out what we want, right? We have to try things, especially when we ask ourselves what we want and we say, I don't know. I don't even know what I like. Sometimes that just is a call to try different things, try things, see what you do like, explore yourself. Eclipse in Sagittarius, success after a setback, growth. This is growth for you. Yeah, 33, master number. Big spiritual growth for you. Oh my gosh, look at all the circles here going on. There's something there. A cycle, maybe. You're completing a cycle. Yeah, this is the end of a cycle of, you know, where you weren't moving forward in life because you weren't doing what you actually wanted to do. Yeah, that's what's going on. You were held back. Because the people in life that are really, you know, moving forward and look like they're thriving, it's because they're doing what they actually want to do. They're doing what makes them happy. And before, you were doing what you thought made you happy, but now you're realizing that wasn't it. And now you're adjusting your life around that accordingly. And don't worry if you're kind of still in that stage of just asking yourself and not quite knowing the answer. That's okay too. That's still progress. That's actually great progress. That's a huge sign that things are looking up for you. You're learning. Because sometimes we get programmed at a young age about what we want, and it's really hard to undo that. You know, we can have controlling parents or Parents that just are too directing, they don't let you flow. And that just causes a whole bunch of delays. But I don't think you got to worry about it because you said success after a setback. This was all part of your learning. This was all a test for you to teach you this. This was the lesson you had to learn. And now you're stronger than ever because you've attained that skill of, because no one will ever be able to tell you what you want anymore from this. You'll learn that that's a communication that can only come from you, from your inner spirit. Yeah. This is a big test, but you're passing. You're doing well. You're becoming the high priest or high priestess. I said high priest before high priestess, which is funny. So maybe you are a male, but it doesn't really matter. The energy of the high priestess is intuition, right? Your inner high priestess. Yeah. 2 cards here. Okay. Mother Mary. Wow. I think that's the first time this card's come out. I don't know if Mother Mary is someone you can call upon or even resonates with you culturally, but you know, when you want, I think this is about self-nurturing as well, you know, because we can get really, when we're trying to be someone else, sometimes it's about what we really want is love. We want compassion and acceptance and love, because we didn't get it when we should have. Yeah, you want the embrace of belonging. It says, into the arms of a mothering embrace swells a wisdom full of grace. In thy bosom, where she whispers, sleeps the eye of winter. Yeah. And you're learning to give that nurturing to yourself so that you don't have to cling to I almost said worldly, like supernatural. Maybe you had an entity attachment that was affecting things. But things in the outer world you were clinging to, at the very least, to have a sense of identity, have a sense of worth. But Mother Mary is teaching you to turn inward and to give yourself that acceptance and love. Oh my gosh. Offerings. And look what she's bringing you. Well, you're bringing this to yourself as well. You're offering yourself love and acceptance and true joy, not fake joy. That's what's being brought to you. I'm really getting the feeling of, like, you know, comfort, like when you go home and you're in a warm place and someone brings you food and there's a warm embrace with it. And you know, sometimes that can be your mom, but you know, I'm trying to stay away from that language because sometimes your mom is the opposite of that, and that's part of the wound. Is that we didn't get that kind of love and acceptance when we should have. So it can be really hard to teach ourselves that. But I think you're learning. And you're doing it on your own, which is just, you know, fantastic. Gosh, I have such a glare there. Kind of makes you can't see the cards, but maybe I'll get a ring light, something that'll make it easier to see. Thanks for putting up with it. I'm going to read this. I give to you my heart's intent wrapped in gratitude and thankfulness, devotion in exchange for your presence. Here I am, gifting my essence. This could even be your guides, like, because Mother Mary is someone you can call in for nurturing. Actually, sometimes I do that. Even when I have been in a bad place, I sort of imagine myself being wrapped in her arms and held by her. You can even ask for her to hug you and to hold you. That energy will come in. You know, and maybe that's the offering is you know, to ask for that love and that nurturing warmth for when you're going through a rough time, because this is a hard journey to go on, and you need love, you need support, and if there's no one around you to give you support, maybe that's just the thing you need. Maybe that's the thing that's going to help you. is to receive, support and guidance. The candle just went out. And then we were thinking about cycles here, so yeah. I think it's an end to the old pattern, the old way of being. It's funny how it's kind of like it's a cake, but there's this like it's like garlic on top or an onion. That's such a strange sweet. Yeah, offerings. Maybe that's part of it is that, some lessons in life are a little stinky, or like not so sweet. They can be kind of harsh. But in a way they're also an offering for you because it's an opportunity for learning. This was a whole opportunity to teach yourself how to be true to you, how to really know yourself, to be strong in your sense of self, and to not let others tell you who you are. Yeah. And there's a message about gratitude and thankfulness here. So sometimes it's hard to resonate with this, but when we're going through a rough lesson, sometimes it's good to have gratitude for it because it is teaching us, it is helping us, ultimately to be who we're supposed to be, to rise to our true selves, to our highest self, to our strongest, best version of ourselves. And so, sometimes the lesson's rough, but at the same time, if we didn't receive the lesson, who would we be without it, right? You'd still be someone who is following a path that isn't true to you, right? So sometimes it's good to say thank you. Thank your guides, thank your ancestors, the angels, the ascended masters, those that are helping you to move forward and to ascend in this way. And that's a way to connect with them as well. And connecting with them is so helpful for unlocking intuition, right? Because they can help you on that journey as well. It's not just self-knowing, it's knowing what your soul knows, what your spirit knows, and that can be infinite. And that's where the powerful change comes in, because it unlocks so much. Self-mastery, right? Becoming the master of your own destiny. Yeah, you're the captain of your own ship, right? So it's time to take the wheel. It's time to just self-direct. Be like, okay, well, if I don't, just decide one day, I'm going to do this thing that I've always wanted to try. Or I'm going to quit this thing that I know I hate. I'm going to live my life joyfully. I'm going to spend a day doing something that's fun, not what I think I should be doing. I'm going to do the thing I feel like I tell myself I'm not supposed to do, but deep down I want to do. Yeah. So a lot of times we resist the thing we really want, right? Maybe something happened with judgment here that brought that very clearly into your awareness. Because sometimes we need like almost like a tower moment or a moment of crisis to bring out those things, to bring into focus what really matters, to give us awareness, to give us, you kind of got to be shocked into awareness sometimes. What's that great, I feel it, don't quote me on this, but I feel like the band, I don't know if it was Tool. I don't know if you listened to Tool, but they're they're very heavy. They're like a heavy metal rock group that not many people will probably resonate with, but I really like them because they have a lot of deep spiritual messages that I feel like goes over some people's heads because they just see them as another metal band, but they're actually communicating quite a lot of spiritual techniques with them, and that's the origin of their name, right? They're a tool for ascension, I think, in their minds. So that's why they're Tool. But where was I going with this? Yeah, I'm not sure if it was them actually that said this, but I think of them with this quote about music that sometimes and also just like art in general. Like sometimes people need to be shocked into shocked awake, and the wakefulness is spiritual awareness, right? They need to be disrupted. And so maybe that's partly their music as well. It's a little shocking. It's a little, it may be a little out there, or even offensive or violent. But sometimes people need that to need something chaotic to bring what's important into focus, right? Yeah. Not sure why that got brought in, but maybe music's a powerful tool for you. Actually, if you find music is helpful for you, then, use that as your tool, right? To help you. Make a playlist of songs that really empower you, because maybe this has to do with confidence. Actually, yeah, because I think carnelian can have a lot to do with confidence as well. Maybe you just lack confidence in yourself that you can do those things that you're resisting. And that's what's key here, is bringing yourself into like enhancing your own belief in yourself. Yeah. Make a playlist of songs that really make you feel empowered, and that could set you right on days where you're not feeling it, where you're feeling down on yourself. But on other days where you need comfort, it sounds strange, but have a gratitude practice, and call on, beings like Mother Mary to comfort you and to be with you and to support you and help you on your journey. Because they will do it. You just have to ask. Again, you always have to ask, because you have free will and they can't interfere without you saying, yeah, I want help. So, if you're standing there being like, why aren't I getting help? But then you're not actually asking, that's why. So, yeah, and that's where intuition comes in. You'll be guided. You'll know which certain beings will come into your awareness, and they can come in funny ways. They can come up in even in like a meme or like random things that are sent to you, or images you see as you go through your day. They'll pop up in a synchronistic and funny way that will make sense to you, and only you usually. So be on the lookout for that. That's part of it, being receptive to it and looking for the signs. That's part of it as well, right? So just make sure you're watching, and be open. Be open to that flow. Yeah. And that's how you'll change your life. To be more joyful, to be more fun, to be the life that you actually want to be living. It'll be a better reflection of, a truer reflection of who you are. Yeah. Okay. I think that's the end of the reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful. And thank you for staying to the end. If you want, you can like the video to help the algorithm, or subscribe to the channel as well. Then you can see more videos. And leave a comment if this resonated in a really powerful way for you. Share your story if you like, And other than that, take care of yourself and listen to your intuition, because that's going to give you the greatest guidance for where you need to step forward on your path. All right. I'll see you again. Take care.